Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Greetings, fellow wanderers. In this bonus episode, I want to dig a little deeper on the meeting of Beren and Lúthien using a passage from The Fellowship of the Ring in the chapter called A Knife in the Dark. In this scene, Strider is leading the hobbits to Rivendell, and they are camped out near Weathertop, where in a short time, Frodo will be stabbed by the King of the Nazgul. Sam asks Strider to share some tales of the Elder Days, and Aragorn responds, quote, I will tell you the tale of Tinuviel. In my previous episode, I shared the meeting of Beren and Lúthien from the Silmarillion. Today, I want to point out the blending of two major ideas in Tolkien's works and how that's manifested in Beren and Lúthien's tale. All this and more coming right up. Welcome. In the Beginner's Guide to the Lord of the Rings podcast, we explore the foundational, epic stories from the deep past of Middle-earth. If you enjoy JRR Tolkien's books, or maybe Peter Jackson's movies, or perhaps you're excited for Amazon Studios' new series, The Rings of Power, and you want to dive deeper into the rich world of Middle-earth, then listen and subscribe. Lagovanian, fellow wanderers. Here are some excerpts from the song about Lúthien that Aragorn chants to the hobbits. There Beren came from mountains cold, and lost he wandered under leaves, and where the elven river rolled, he walked alone and sorrowing. Enchantment healed his weary feet, that over hills were doomed to roam. When winter passed, she came again, and her song released the sudden spring. Again she fled, but swift he came, Tinuviel, he called her by her elvish name. And there she halted listening. One moment stood she, and a spell his voice laid on her. Beren came, and doom fell on Tinuviel, that in his arms lay glistening. A few things to look at here. If you've listened to my two previous episodes, you'll understand the deeper context of Beren's crossing the mountains cold and his feet being healed of weariness. But they are not healed from the doom of roaming over hills. Indeed, Beren is doomed or fated to wander most of his adult life. So Beren sought Lúthien Tinuviel for a year, until she released spring from the bondage of winter through her song. He calls to her, and she is caught in his doom. That doom that fell on Lúthien, in some ways, is also the doom to roam over hills. But more consequentially, that doom is the strange gift that was given to men, the gift of death. When Lúthien chose to love Beren, she also chose her own future death. This idea is wonderfully portrayed in the extended edition of Peter Jackson's Fellowship of the Ring movie. The scene is different from the book. The hobbits are sleeping while Aragorn watches over and softly sings in Elvish. Frodo, who understands Elvish from Bilbo's tutelage, wakes and asks Aragorn who the woman is, and what became of her. Aragorn responds, "'Tis the lay of Lúthien, the elf maiden, who gave her love to Beren, a mortal." And, shaking his head, he finishes, "She died." Returning to the written passage, Aragorn provides a little more context. Quote, "But she chose mortality and to die from the world. So it is that Lúthien Tinuviel, alone of the elf kindred, has died indeed and left the world." Why was this weighing so heavily on Aragorn's mind? What does this tale of lore mean to him? Not only is this tale his family history, for he is a far descendant from the joining of Beren and Lúthien, but he is also reliving the same tale. Aragorn, son of noble men, has an impossible quest before him, and his heart is given to the elf maiden Arwen, who is the likeness of Lúthien of old. But unlike Beren and Lúthien, Aragorn and Arwen know their doom. They know that in their union, Arwen would forsake the immortality of the elves and choose the doom of death with Aragorn. So we have in these short passages the mingling of a major motif with Tolkien's prime theme, the motif of choice, blending with the theme of immortality versus the doom of all mortals, death. And given the context of Tolkien's life when he first started crafting the tale of Beren and Lúthien, having married his wife Edith just months before, he found himself in the bloody Battle of Somme during World War I. Given that, plus Beren and Lúthien's tale and Aragorn and Arwen's tale, here is an insight from the mingling of these ideas. Some things are worth dying for, especially true love. Thanks for joining me today. Let's wander together in the next episode, where we'll see Lúthien save Beren from the darkness of Sauron's dungeons. Hi friends, if you enjoyed this episode, let me know by subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing with your friends. For feedback on the show, please email me at lordoftheringspodcast@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at Beginner's Guide LOTR Podcast. Until next week, remember, not all those who wander are lost.